Hello and welcome back to the final between Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura. Even though the event actually had finished and I did a video about the very last game, I decided that I will now go sort of like Star Wars prequel style, and I will make a few videos about other games that were very interesting. And other games from the very last day, from day 7. So in this video I'm going to cover their first Blitz game from the tiebreak. And actually, if you know the results, then please don't spoil it in the comments. And also, if you don't know, then probably best is if you do watch it in chronological order. So you start with this video and then you go on to the later games. So let's see. This is the first Blitz game, and now Nakamura is with the white pieces. So they played the usual Berlin. Bishop b5 knight f6 d3. Here Carlsen plays the move d6, castles and a6. Here Nakamura takes and plays d4. So this is actually a not very common opening, so there's not many games for this. And well, we can see it's actually quite a solid option for both sides. So we can see that after e takes d, queen takes d4, bishop e7, e5. Actually quite many pieces will be soon exchanged, and after c5, queen f4. It seems like that queen f4 was actually the novelty from Nakamura, but it's very likely that neither of the players have actually prepared this. So now comes d takes e, knight takes e, castles and knight c6, and after queen d6 we basically reach this position. So here we have opposite colored bishops. So white has dark square bishop, black has a light square bishop, and obviously black's main problem is that this double pawns on a c file. But at the same time, because of the opposite colored bishops, white actually does not have a huge advantage. So now both players continue developing. Knight c3, bishop b7, bishop e3, rook f e8. And yeah, just to put it more into context, so this is the final tiebreak of day 7. So the players have already played 7 days against each other. Both are incredibly tired and the stakes are super high. So the first prize is $150,000, and well, especially for Carlsen, who played the previous event as well, he just seemed super exhausted. He also had some bad back pain in the previous day, so really, like, I looked at his camera and he looked essentially half dead, so he was incredibly tired. So, and in this position, the normal moves would be something like rook e1 to continue developing, but Nakamura decided this is the time to try to harvest the c5 pawn, and he played the move queen g5. And so this c5 pawn is now attacked, but now Carlsen reacted really very well. So he played the move queen e6. And the idea is that if white takes the pawn with the queen, then black could play bishop takes g2, immediately forcing the draw, because after king takes g2, queen g4, king h1, queen f3, this is move repetition, king g1, queen g4, and black immediately draws the game. So therefore queen takes c5 was not possible, and if you take with the bishop, then the problem is that now black can just play h6 and say white plays queen h4. Now comes a very nice double attack with queen c6, hitting the g2 pawn and the bishop, and the game is again just over. Black is winning a piece. So for these reasons, for queen e6, Nakamura decided to play the move h3, and the idea is that now the white queen can actually take on c5, because the previous motive with bishop g2 doesn't work anymore. So here to h3, Carlsen plays the move queen c6, and here Nakamura plays f3. So with this f2, g3, g2 pawns, Nakamura tries to restrict the light square bishop of Carlsen. And in this position, it comes out that both players are just incredibly exhausted, especially Carlsen, because Carlsen just plays a horrible move. He forgets that his c5 pawn is now finally hanging, so he should have played something like c4. But instead of this, he plays the move h6, to which Nakamura can just simply take the c5 pawn. Thank you very much, and now white is up a pawn. So the next moves are some simplifying moves. Knight d5, queen d5, takes, king f2. So the players reach this ending, white is simply up a pawn, but there are still opposite colored bishops, which means some sort of help for Carlsen to try to draw this ending. So well, let's make a few moves. So bishop e6, bishop f4, c5, rook fd1, e5, rook d2, a4, and a3. So in this opposite colored bishops ending, it's clear that white only has one pawn, so if black manages to exchange both rooks, then the ending would be very likely an easy draw. So for that reason, it's actually white's favor to keep some pieces on the board, and especially keep as many pawns on the board as possible. So now comes rook a6, rook e1, rook b6, bishop e5, bishop f5, and here Nakamura decided that, well, one pairs of rook well can't hurt, so he exchanges them. Bishop c3 takes, f6, and comes g4. So now there is another instructive moment here. So we can see that the attacking side, which is white now, tries to fix the pawns of the opposite side on the color of his own bishop, and it actually means that his pawns are going to be fixed on Carlsen's bishop. So, but in this way, Nakamura will have more targets in the future. So now comes bishop g6, rook d8, king h7, king d2, rook b7, rook c8 going after the c5 pawn, comes rook d7, king c1, rook e7, and here Nakamura takes the second pawn. However, now Carlsen also manages to activate his rook and comes with rook e3. And well, here the game becomes basically a race. White starts pushing his pawns. So comes b4, takes, and in this position it's very common that the outside passer, which is often an A or H pawn, is super quick. So now white just try to push this A pawn down the board. So comes a4, black takes another pawn, but Nakamura absolutely doesn't care. a5, rook h2, a6 again, rook a2, and in this position you can stop the video for a moment and try to figure out how to well, reach an almost winning position. So basically the reason why I told you to stop the video, because I wanted to highlight something. So here, so the pawn is hanging. There are two ways that white can protect it, and one way would be rook a5. And well, there are multiple problems with this move. Well, one thing is that it just loses a piece. The rook c2, king d1, rook c3, black just won a piece. But so this is therefore will be a blunder. But what I want to highlight is that actually you don't want to exchange the rooks in such positions, because of the bishop a5, bishop e4. Now this is actually less clear whether white can win this, because now the black bishop is actually quite active. It controls the e8 square, and also probably the black king can try to march over, and also black can try to push his own pass pawns. So in such positions, it's usually a bad idea to exchange the rooks. So, but of course, Nakamura did not exchange the rooks. He played a good move with bishop a5, and here we can see that well, black's, well, it's not yet completely hopeless, but it's really very bad. Comes bishop e4, a7, g5, b4, and well, white just will play rook c8, promote his pawn, and well, it seems over for Carlsen. Now comes king g6, rook c8, but of course this is a blitz game, so Nakamura still has to pay attention. Comes f5. Here Nakamura plays the move rook e8 with the threat that wants to take on e4 and then promote his pawn. And here actually with bishop f3, Carlsen committed the final blunder. So after bishop f3 comes g takes f5, and black's problem is that if he takes back, then there comes rook f8, king goes somewhere, and after rook takes f3, the white pawn is going to queen, and the material advantage is just overwhelming. So after g takes f5, black cannot take back on f5, played king f7, but here comes just the queen, and the game is eventually over. They made a few more moves, but finally here Carlsen resigned, because I mean, it just don't do much material. So this was the first blitz game. In my next video I will cover the second blitz game, when Carlsen absolutely has to fight back and strike back in order to stay in the game. So we'll see you in that video.